Was the Titanic sinking a planned conspiracy? The Titanic disaster of 1912 is one of the most tragic and fascinating events in modern history. The sinking of the unsinkable ship claimed the lives of more than 1,500 people and shocked the world. But was it really an accident? Or was there a sinister plot behind it? Some conspiracy theorists have suggested that the Titanic sinking was a planned conspiracy by some powerful people who wanted to eliminate their rivals or profit from the insurance money. In this video, we will examine some of the most popular and bizarre Titanic conspiracy theories and see if they hold any water. J.P. Morgan planned the disaster to kill his rivals. According to this theory, millionaire banker J.P. Morgan planned the Titanic disaster to kill off rival millionaires Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus and Benjamin Guggenheim, who all perished aboard. The theory hinges on the fact that Morgan had originally planned to sail on the Titanic but changed his mind shortly before it took off. Yet it doesn't offer any explanation for how he caused the ship to hit an iceberg and kill over 1,500 people, let alone the 3 men he supposedly intended to die. To top it off, the theory claims Morgan wanted to kill them because they opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve, even though Astor and Guggenheim don't appear to have taken a position on it and Straus actually supported it. Alternative versions of this theory claim the Rothschild banking family or the Jesuits were the ones who arranged Astor, Straus and Guggenheim's deaths on the Titanic. This theory is based on speculation, distortion and misinformation. There is no evidence that Morgan had any motive or means to orchestrate such a complex and risky scheme. Morgan was not even directly involved in the building or operation of the Titanic, which was owned by the White Star Line, a subsidiary of Morgan's International Mercantile Marine Company. Morgan also had many other business interests and projects that would have been jeopardized by such a reckless act. Moreover, Morgan was not alone in canceling his trip on the Titanic. Many other prominent people did so as well, for various reasons. And while Morgan did have some influence on the establishment of the Federal Reserve, he was not its sole architect or beneficiary. The Federal Reserve was created by an act of Congress in 1913, after years of debate and compromise among various political and economic interests. The Titanic never sank. People seem to love a good insurance fraud story, so maybe it's unsurprising that this conspiracy theory is one of the Titanic's most popular. This one posits that the White Star Line swapped the Titanic for its identical sister ship the Olympic, which had already been severely damaged in 2 collisions, and allowed it to sink in order to collect insurance money. They then allowed the Titanic to sail on as the Olympic. This theory is based on superficial similarities between the 2 ships and some alleged anomalies in their construction and identification. However, it ignores many crucial differences and inconsistencies that make it implausible. For one thing, the Olympic and the Titanic were not identical. They had different sizes, weights, capacities, features and decorations. For another thing, the Olympic was not beyond repair. It was successfully fixed and returned to service after each collision. Moreover, swapping the 2 ships would have required an enormous amount of time, money, labor and secrecy that would have been impossible to achieve without detection or leakage. And finally, there is no evidence that the White Star Line ever received any insurance money for the Titanic. In fact, they suffered huge financial losses from the disaster. A mummy's curse caused the Titanic to sink. This is perhaps the most bizarre and fanciful of all Titanic conspiracy theories. It claims that a mummy's curse doomed the ship after one of its passengers brought aboard a cursed artifact from Egypt. The artifact was allegedly a coffin lid of an ancient priestess named Amen-Ra, which was sold to an Englishman named William Stead in 1892. Stead then supposedly gave it to another passenger named Douglas Murray, who brought it on board the Titanic. The curse then caused bad luck and misfortune to follow anyone who came in contact with it. This theory is based on hearsay, rumor and fiction. There is no evidence that such an artifact ever existed or was ever on board the Titanic. The story seems to have originated from a fictional tale written by Arthur Conan Doyle in 1890, called The Ring of Thoth, which featured a mummy's curse and a similar coffin lid. The story was then embellished by various writers and journalists over time, who added details and names to make it more sensational and convincing. The theory also relies on stereotypes and myths about ancient Egypt and its culture, which have no basis in reality. Conclusion. The Titanic sinking was a tragic accident that resulted from a combination of human error, natural factors, and technological limitations. There is no credible evidence to support any of the conspiracy theories that have been proposed to explain it. These theories are based on speculation, misinformation, and imagination, and they exploit the public's fascination and curiosity about the event. They also disrespect the memory and dignity of the victims and survivors of the disaster, who deserve better than to be used as pawns in sensational and unfounded stories. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and if you like this video, press the like button and consider subscribing the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.